Hello everyone, this is Zooc, and today I'm going to be drawing what is probably the most hated creature in World of Warcraft. Yes, it's the Murloc. And no, it's not going to be wearing a top hat, and it's not going to be wearing a monocle, and it's definitely not going to be shooting a ghost rifle dressed in marine armor, but it's going to be just as awesome, so don't go anywhere. As per usual, I like to give a little bit of background information on what it is that I'm drawing, and why I'm drawing it. So, in the case of the Murlocs, they are a very ancient civilization. Nobody really knows where they came from or how they evolved. One thing that's known for sure is that they've been enslaved by the Naga at some point in time, so they've been in close contact with them as slaves, nonetheless. They are a very crude civilization, but that does not mean they aren't intelligent, because according to rather detailed research, sure, it's fantasy, but it still has a point. The Murlocs are just about as intelligent as any other civilization in Azeroth. They just choose to live the way they do because they're content with what they have. And that's something I can respect personally when, in a real life situation. Their language is for the most part indecipherable. There have only been 2 cases where Murlocs have communicated with other civilizations. One of them was a conversation had between Thrall and the Murloc sorcerer on Thrall's visit to the Lost Isles. And another situation has been when a Night Elf representative of the organization known as DHTA in-game, which is basically a wildlife preservation organization, became King Murgle. So he wore a suit trying to infiltrate the Winterfen tribe, and after an incident where he proved to be a hero, he was appointed king of the Winterfen Murlocs, and eventually learned their language and remained in that position, and is now a quest giver in game. I think he's in Borean Tundra. I'm pretty sure he's there. The Murlocs also live in rather crude huts made of straw and tied with string and suspended on poles to protect against floods. From a technology point of view, they never work with metal. They're afraid of fire. So they're pretty good carvers. They carve in ivory, and they use clams as currency. Apparently they're excellent crafters, like manual crafters of items and with artistic value, but they don't really trade them. They mostly use them just for decoration. As for their religion, Murlocs worship whatever is strongest. So their object of worship varies from clan to clan and tribe to tribe. For example, if a tribe worships a certain animal and that animal is killed by a stronger animal, then their object of worship will change to the killer, aka the stronger or bigger animal. Also, they worship what is called the one in the deep, the one in the depths. I think it's the one in the deep, or deeps, which is not known for sure if it's the actual ocean they're referring to, or a creature that lives in the ocean, but that's what they call it. Now, as for the drawing itself, I didn't really use any reference at all for it, because I searched on Google Images to see if other people have drawn it and their impressions of it, but the only images that I found was actually one image. It's the one on Wikipedia, and this pose that's been used there is just way too standard for my taste. The guy's just basically kind of sitting there and not doing anything. So I sat around for 20 minutes and came up with my own pose, and also threw in a couple of personal touches to make it a bit more interesting and more fun looking. But to be honest, this was a pretty good exercise for me to draw humanoid muscles, because the Murloc physiognomy and musculature is rather similar to that of humans, especially in the arms, legs, and, except for the toes. Arms and the hands, obviously. But the arms are very humanoid-like, and they're also purely organic, because as a civilization they don't really use weapons that much. The warriors just kind of use a spear, and the oracles shoot laser beams. So as much as I like drawing armor, this was good practice for me to draw skin and muscles, because the muscles here, they're, you know, when muscles contract, their shapes change and their positions change. So in this drawing, there are a lot of positions for different muscles. So it's good practice. Everything is. As for the skin texture, the Murlocs are slimy and scaly, but they could look kind of smooth here. I chose to go with a smoother texture just because I thought it looked nice, and also I tried to switch up my style of shading like I usually do. I should really stick to one thing, but I like keeping it fresh. So after a drawing in which I shade heavily, like my last one with the Horde Crest tattoo where I sat around shading wood for 2.5 hours, this was a nice change because I got to use lighter textures and lighter strokes, so it came out nice and not too heavy on the eye. I'm just detailing his head there. Nothing special about the head, he has a fish head. And I'm drawing the pattern that surrounds his eyes and which some Murlocs have on their arms and shoulders, as you can see there. Now, as for my personal intervention in this drawing, I chose to go with a pirate image. Seeing as Murlocs live on the seashores and ocean shores, there's bound to be ships shipwrecking at some point. And since they're a civilization that's well known for pillaging and plundering, I suspect that along their expeditions they've acquired a few toys, which in this case is a bottle of grog and a pirate hat. I mean, why not, really? So I'm just drawing his little fins there, or spikes that they have on their backs, which are poking through the hat, and drawing the skull that's on every pirate hat, every typical pirate hat. So yeah, this was a pirate Murloc. I should have probably drawn a parrot on his shoulder or something, but I don't think there would have been enough room with the hat there. I think it's fine. Murlocs don't really need a lot of details to be awesome. They're just generally awesome just as they are. So yeah, that's it. That's a pirate Murloc. I hope you enjoyed it, and please visit my channel and subscribe, and I'll see you for my next drawing video. Goodbye.